Yes, they're certainly going through here very hard as though it is a race, but we're still pretty confident that this is the warm-up lap.
Oh, I would think it would have to be the way they started, John, and there seems to be those 3 or 4 cars are way ahead of everything. Yeah, they're just coming in slowly now, the rest of the field, so I don't know what's happened to those front runners. I think everybody's a little confused the way they're coming around the...
It's called red haze over the eyes.
Yeah, well, I think everybody's confused. We're just watching our start. The way they're coming out of the southern hairpin there, they were obviously, except for the front 3 or 4 cars, the rest were obviously expecting to go onto the grid. I would suggest to you, Ian Wells, now that they're going to do 2 warm-up laps. Glenn?
I'd say so, Tony, because they're really not trying terribly hard through Stag. They're warming up, obviously, but they're not racing by any stretch of the imagination. Not HQ racing, anyway.
No, certainly.
Unless you do it differently over here.
No, it's the same everywhere with these HQs, but...
There's not a single door handle on the ground yet.
But certainly there's some confusion there, so I would, as I said, expect them to come around next time round for a warm-up lap, and we're going to have 8 laps of terrific HQ racing.
Tony, it's going to be really exciting because some 6 cars are within a few hundredths of a second of each other in practice. If you look for the 2nd through to 7th position, all of those cars are literally within a few hundredths of a second of each other in practice. Peter Bryce on pole really cleared out almost a full second ahead of everybody else.
And he's a leading rookie.
And he's a leading rookie, so either he's breathing nitromethane or something, but whatever it is, he really put the cat amongst the pigeons. But the rest of the cars, as you can see from the practice times, it's going to be, that next batch of cars is going to be just a blanket finish, I'd say.
Well, we have a red flag out now, so the rest of the, these are the front group, I think, that came around. Yeah, because Peter Bryce is there in 69, so I would imagine that Glenn Dix is forming up the grid now, because he appears to be motioning to Phil Smith in 49 to move back, bringing up Peter Bryce. Yeah, Smith moving back, so they're now lining them up for the start of this 8-lapper. And just looking at the colours and the advertising on these cars, as we said earlier, plenty of signage on these cars and plenty of handout of products and so forth, paint shops, auto electricians, tyre dealers, all that sort of thing, but probably not a lot in money. So now as we see them lining up for their 8 laps this time around, just a certain amount of confusion on the warm-up lap. The clerk, of course, has been down there and spoken to Phil Smith in 49 because it was a warm-up lap and he actually took off and passed Peter Bryce, I think perhaps, which threw things into confusion a little bit. Whereas on the warm-up lap, to my understanding, they are supposed to stay in grid order. I don't know how you see it, Ian Wells.
Yes, I agree with you. That's probably what happened, and a little bit of confusion on the part of both drivers. One wasn't quite sure whether it was the start of a race, and the other one wasn't quite sure where he should stay in position. So the net result was that it got a little bit out of control. But everything's sorted out now. We didn't have to back the fire trucks across the track to stop them, and it's only a matter of time now before they're on their way for 8 laps of mayhem.
Just watching right up to the southern hairpin there, and the marshals appear to have almost the front half of the grid is all settled out here. So we'll keep our eye on Glenn Dix, who is standing there with his arms folded. And as we said so many times, if you watch Glenn Dix, if you're a driver or an official, you can time it to a T, and he's very particular in what he tells the drivers, what he tells people in race control, etc., etc. There is no mistaking what Glenn's telling, and he gives us the 10 seconds now to the start of the 8 laps for the HQs. Peter Bryce, Phil Smith, the front 2 cars, lines missing after some mechanical problems during the practice today. We wait for the lights to come on. Just waiting now. Showing 10 seconds again. So we watch our starter, Glenn Dix, all the cars. And we have a problem. The lights, trouble with the lights, so we're going to a green flag. And they're away, and Peter Bryce is the first one away. Phil Smith very quick, and Holmes in the number 9 car as they come under the Foster's Bridge and into the chicane for the first time.
Yes, into the chicane, and it's still Peter Bryce. Then it's back to car number 49, Smith, and then a great gaggle of HQs, believe it or not. They're going through the chicane side by side. Actually, they're 3 wide, some of the cars down the back of the field, but just seem to be a couple of touches in midfield. Most of them have got through, though, without too much damage, and they should be gradually getting up towards you, Ian Wells.
Yes, just waiting for them to come into sight now. We can't see them as yet, but we can see them on our TV chopper cam coming through the S's at the top of the circuit, and they're just about to come into Banana Bend any moment. And I think it will be Peter Bryce leading the field. It's a yellow car in the lead as we wait for them to come in. Yes, it's Bryce in the lead, car 69 from 49, and then 9, and then 3. So that's 49 is in second position is Phil Smith, and 9 is Peter Holmes. Car number 3 is Steve Ward. And then, whoa, we've had a lose, we've had a half a lose, we've had 2/3 of a lose, but they all had another one, and they all got it sorted out. Incredible. Looked like he was parking it sideways in a very narrow parking space, but they all managed to get together, and in Indian file, they're streaming down into Brabham Straight now. So the cars are romping along Brabham Straight. Watching from the chopper cam, a wonderful shot. Our chopper pilot doing a great job of keeping these cars in line as they go down Brabham Straight, and very shortly they're now coming around to the back of the circuit with Peter Bryce still in the lead, doing very well for a rookie, Tony.
Certainly are, Ian, right under the Marlborough Bridge as they come out of Wakefield Road and into Victoria Park for the first time, up into the southern hairpin. The pressure really on is up front there as they're coming around, and it looks as though Phil Smith has taken the lead now from Holmes. Smith in the yellow car, then it would be Holmes. Then we go back to Ward in 3, back then to 54, which is the next car through. That's Peter Ginman, and then to 60. So we've had a change here. We've lost Bryce somewhere, the rookie who had the grid. And have a look at the group as they come down. 3 and 4 wide under the Foster's Bridge into your side, John Hurney.
Yeah, and there's one car has just gone into the wall here. That's car number 11. Ian Richards just bashed into the wall, the tyre wall, with the right front mudguard. Hasn't done a lot of damage, but I think he caught the interest of his fellow HQ competitors, though, as he went sideways across the chicane in front of them. He's just waiting to rejoin now. Just done a little bit of damage, and gee, plenty of spectacle that time through.
Well, they're going down now under the bridge and around Banana Bend and heading towards the Stag.
Yes, in our side now, and it's Smith leading, and car 49. Then comes 9, 3 and 54. 9, Peter Holmes, of course. 3 is Steve Ward, and 54, who's sneaked up, as Peter Ginman. Peter is a very familiar name in South Australian motorsport, and the rest of the field now lining up and coming through nose to tail. We had quite a moment here on the opening lap with a couple of the cars getting out very tail heavy, but now they're all taking it a little bit more judiciously. It looks like Rundle Street on Friday night, believe me, with car 11 making up time. Ian Richards making up a lot of time after that bit of a moment down in the S's with John Hurley.
Well, certainly they're round out of Brabham Straight and into Victoria Park, part of the circuit, round under the Marlborough Bridge behind our main commentary point, and it's Phil Smith who's still there from Peter Holmes. Steve Monterosso is in the pits in the JVC crash repairs car. Some body contact. Can't repair the damage, so Steve Monterosso out of the car, which is rather unfortunate. But have a look at the front 3 runners here. It's Smith, comes out wide, ducks right over to the right. He's followed by one of the front runners, which is Holmes. Then it would be Ward, back then to the 54 car, which we mentioned earlier, Peter Ginman, also another front runner. Then it would be Harding, Jay Richards, then Bryce, who started off. Then it's Neil Corey. Then it's the second of the Richards car, back then to the 27 car, which is Michael Irwin. Then it would be Pengelly. Laxton's a long way back, and then further back to 18, which is Philip Collier, as they're in the chicane once again.
The leaders through the chicane. This time not too much chaos at this stage. Oh, someone getting very sideways under brakes there. Car number 13 gets squeezed right up over the curbs on the entry to the chicane. But yeah, they're all through without too much drama this time. And in fact, those lead 4 cars actually driving all extremely well, I thought. Very, very quick. In fact, nice and smooth. And Ian Wells, I don't know whether they're with you yet up at Stag.
They are indeed. Phil Smith pulling out a good lead now over Peter Holmes in second position. Then Steve Ward still holding down third, and Peter Ginman fourth. Then leading the next batch is car number 60, which is David Harding. And the cars are now starting to break up into little groups of scrabbling, fighting HQs. Everybody's got someone to play with, and they're all very, very busy indeed as they go down Jones Straight. The rest of the field still streaming through. Car number 13, number 7, Dave Milling, just catching it as the tail came out, and Lindsay Gates in his beautifully painted car almost had to do a respray job. But we've just been advised that car 8 has been black flagged. That's Neil Corey. Apparently his exhaust system has come adrift, so he'll have to come into the pits for rectification.
Well, we've had a change in the minor placings. It's still Phil Smith out in the lead as they come around the southern hairpin this time. Swings out nice and wide, pretty easy. Holmes right on his tail there. And 18, that's the car of Philip Collier who had the spin. So it's Holmes, then the 54 car of Ginman, and then Ward is next in number 3. Then it's Jay Richards, Harding, Bryce, Corey, who's got the back fag. Then it would be Dean Richards. Mike Irwin would be next. Then it's Laxton's in there, Pengelly just in front of him. Back then to Ormsby, the professional golfer. Then Marcel Didelot, the Frenchman who's driving at HQ, is next through there. And already a great group coming out of the southern hairpin and heading towards the chicane.
The leaders through the chicane here is car number 10. Just had a very good attempt at having a lose at the chicane, but he managed to gather it all up again. The midfield is just coming through now. Very colourful side. HQ's painted every colour you can possibly think of. Many of them leaping up high into the air over the curbs, but they're all through here without too much difficulty. And it looks like at this stage Phil Smith actually pulling a little bit of an advantage.
Yes, Phil Smith seems to pull out quite a bit of time through the S's, but they catch up with him just as he comes up in a stag corner. And Peter Holmes is now making a really strong play. And another car which has come up, I'm assuming he's still on the same lap as car... Oh, yes, of course, it's car 54, Peter Ginman, who is throwing out a strong challenge for third position. And moving up on the tail of our second place man as they go into the tight right-hander at the end of Brabham Straight.
Certainly around out of that corner, down the short part of Wakefield Street before swinging left into the actual parklands itself, round the Marlborough Bridge, still Phil Smith, Holmes, Ginman, and they've got a good lead then from Ward, who's holding down 4th place. The front 4 cars have got a good run. We're generally not used to seeing this. Generally they're a lot closer as we see them back in the minor placings, and as we watch the rest of the field swing round under the bridge. The race leader still Phil Smith. He takes that wide line, then cuts right back close against the wall, and Ward is making ground on Holmes in the dialer line car there. So, Ginman making room. Then it would be the number 3 car of Ward, a long way back then, or further back then to Richards, Harding, Bryce, Corey, who's still going, though he's had the black flag, Dean Richards, Irwin there. They're relatively spread out at this stage. Laxton, who's one of the front runners, has obviously got a problem because he's well back in the field. And the action at the present moment, although they're strung out evenly spaced down the start-finish line, the action seems to be up here at the back as the tail ends head towards the chicane.
Yes, Tony, as you were saying, as we just realised we've got 4 laps down and 4 laps to go in this 8-lap HQ race, the people that are still close together are running down towards the back of the field. Some quite good dices here. We've got them coming in 3 wide here into the chicane. There's car number 28 there going very slowly. That's Darren Stapleton. He's obviously got a bit of a problem, but up with the lead, I think that Phil Smith is actually continuing to pull away, and all the interest now looks like it's in second place. Are they with you yet, Ian Wells?
Yes, in fact, they've passed me and are on their way down Jones Straight, and you're quite right. Phil Smith, unless he does something ridiculous and falls off the island or blows up or something of that nature, I don't think he can be beaten now. He's got a very solid and substantial lead for an HQ race, and the real interest now is the dice between Peter Ginman and Peter Holmes for second place, because they're very close together and really fighting it out as they reach the bottom of Brabham Straight and then come back through the S's. If anything, they seem to make up a little bit of time on Smith there, but I think he's in pretty secure first position.
Certainly appears to be that way. He's opened up that lead. He's been quite a regular runner at Malheur, although not faring in the point score all that well, but certainly for this Grand Prix circuit, seems to have the bit between his teeth, and already the black flag is out for Neil Corey, although he hasn't even come into sight, although he's could be showing somebody else possibly this time. No, they've still got it out, so it'll still be Corey with the dragging exhaust, and my guess is that he'll be paying a visit to the stewards, making quite a determined effort to show him the flag this time round. But as you said, Ian Wells, Phil Smith certainly seems to have a good strong lead for this 8 laps. 49 to also get the black flag.
That's our leader.
Yeah, that's Phil Smith, so that's going to be interesting. John Herney says for curb jumping, but they've spread out a little. Oh, a lock up there, John.
Yeah, it certainly was. Car 7 and one of the Gilbert Motor Bodies cars just tried to go through the tighter part of the chicane side by side, and at the last minute one of them realised he couldn't and had to aviate over the curbs. But seeing the, I think you were just saying our leader looks like getting the black flag. I think it may well be for curb jumping, Tony. He's certainly probably leaping higher and going further over the curbs here at the chicane than most of the other competitors. I remember last year in, or perhaps it was the year before in the Group E race, they got very, very upset with people jumping the curbs all around this Adelaide Grand Prix circuit.
Well, there's no apparent damage to his car, so I've got to agree with you, John. I think that could well be the reason. No doubt we'll be finding out in due course. Just watching the rest of the field streaming through here. Actually, the driver of the meeting so far is Ian Richards, who, having had that lose in the opening laps, is now carving his way through the field and driving like a man possessed. You can see the old Formula 2 experience working out. Tom, you've got something for us?
Yes, I can tell you about the black flag for Phil Smith. It is, as you said, for curb jumping. He will have to come in for a stop-go penalty. That's our leader.
Well, Phil Smith just coming around is going to get the flag this time. So he couldn't help but see it. He almost drove right underneath it there. So it's still Smith. Then it would be Ginman and Holmes. Ginman from the Riverland. Then it would be Ward in a brand new car. I think this might be probably only his second meeting in the car. Then it's back to Harding, Richards and Bryce. A little bit further back then to Dean, Richards, Irwin, Laxton's. Then it would be Pengelly in the multicolour car, the 25 car. A little bit further back then to Ormsby, Diddlow, and then it would be Heinrich. So we watch now to see as Neil Corey comes into the pits. 5 laps completed of the 8. And John Herney, those brakes, you could tell us as an HQ driver, would be getting a little bit hot.
Oh, very much so, Tony, and the wind's pretty strong up here now, so you can't smell the brakes very much. But yes, I should think that every now and then when they put their foot on the pedal, it'll be going down just that little bit further and that little bit further every time. As Ian Richards there just does a masterly little bit of outbraking past one of the back markers there. As Ian Wells was saying, Ian Richards doing a great job making up a lot of ground after that first early in the race lose he had here at the chicane. But yes, I think you find that quite a few of the guys will be getting a little bit worried about the way the cars are stopping at this stage. How do you see that one, Ian Wells?
Yes, indeed. In fact, with just a couple of laps left to run, it's going to be very interesting to see whether some of the chargers can really stop them at the end of Brabham Straight. Our leader is just negotiating the hairpin at the end of the straight. In fact, the first 3 cars are. And of course now the leader will be effectively Peter Ginman, because with our Smith having to stop and do a stop-go penalty, that's effectively put him out of the event, and therefore it'll be Peter Ginman who'll inherit the lead from Peter Holmes, and I think possibly be Peter Ormsby in 3rd position.
Well, we're watching as they come around, and it doesn't look as though Smith is going to come into the pits. The black flag being shown once again to Smith. So Ginman in 2nd, and still Holmes. That's going to put a cat amongst the pigeons. He will be more than certainly paying a visit to the stewards. They would be on their last lap, I would suggest, at this stage, as we see Glenn Dix go down with the checkered flag. And we see quite a different picture of the HQs on this longer circuit than we're used to seeing at Mallar here in South Australia. Certainly, as I said, Smith is not a regular runner in the points, although when he does run, he's very, very quick. So we'll just have to wait and see what the stewards' decisions are on the car, which is running on the front of the track at the present moment.
Yeah, Tony, I don't think there's any doubt that having been shown the black flag a couple of times like that, and he certainly can't say that he didn't see it, it will be a tricky one, but I really can't see how that he will be awarded the victory. I would feel that first place would have to go to the man that's running 2nd on the road, which I believe is Peter Ginman.
Yes, well, no doubt he'll be awarded a 3-month holiday, which of course really won't have much effect on him, because there won't be much racing coming up over the next 3 months anyway. But we'll have to leave that to the stewards to decide. Steve Ward is now in 3rd position on the road in car 3, if we discount our leader because of the black flag situation. So with the laps running down, it's still a very good field of cars circulating. The mortality rate has not been as I anticipated, and they're doing a pretty good job all in all.
Certainly, in as they come around for the last time under the Marlborough Bridge, and Smith is still staying out there. Ginman in 2nd, Holmes in 3rd, and I doubt very much whether Smith will come into the pit lane this time around. Ward is still there with Hardy, and we've had a lose. The 69 of Bryce's car just missed the wall under the Marlborough Bridge coming back into the parklands. But no, Smith has come in, and it's going to be Peter Ginman who takes the checkered flag in the 54 car. Holmes in number 9, the Dialer Line car, and Collier Engines in for 2nd. Steve Ward in a brand new car, number 3, for Gilbert Motor Bodies, is going to be in for 3rd, followed by Harding, Jay Richards, Smith being spoken to by the clerk, of course. Then Cavello, who's down. Irwin and Laxton's will follow them through. Dean Richards, Pengelly. So it looks as though for the first HQ race here on the circuit, the win is going to go to Peter Ginman.
And it certainly was a very worthwhile win, Tony, by Peter Ginman. He moved up through the field well and really didn't put a wheel wrong. And it was actually fairly noticeable just watching the back markers come around the pits hairpin for the last time. A few people flying off the road there. It was fairly noticeable that he wasn't jumping the curbs anywhere near to the extent that the car that was curb jumping I think the final few cars coming over the line now, but certainly a great spectacle there, the first HQ race here at the Adelaide Grand Prix.